So you're in a market for a new phone to create content for your social media, and you've got your eyes set on the Realme 8. This is the Lazy Reviewers, and you're watching an in-depth review of the camera quality of this phone. From now on, our camera reviews will be very detailed and we'll go into a lot of nitty-gritties that no one else goes in. So without any wait, let's continue. As always, all the timestamps will be in the description box below, and now let's start with the specs of the phone. The main camera of the Realme 8 is a 64 megapixel, and the wide angle has an 8 megapixel sensor with the macro and the depth sensor being 2 megapixels. Now let's just take a look at the camera app. Opening the camera app, we can see we have options like flash, HDR, filters, timer and settings in the top bar. And on the bottom we have options like night mode, video, photo, portrait, and a more options tab for dual view, slow motion, time lapse and panorama. In the settings we have watermarks, volume button, sound settings, location options, and in advanced settings we have flip selfie and quick share and edit. For now, let's just take a few pictures of this plant and we'll talk about more professionally taken pictures in detail later on. First of all, the ultra wide. Next is the normal mode. Then we have 2x. And then we have what seems to be macro, I guess. This is 5 times zoom, I guess. Now let's take a look at all the samples and see how good or bad the camera really is. First up, we have a couple of pro mode photos taken by our camera guy. Looking at it on the phone screen, it seems pretty fine, but while editing on my PC, it does look like a grainy mess. The next picture is pretty much the same. I guess they at least included the option for pro mode, even if it doesn't work great. In a studio lighting, I expected the pro mode to actually get a lot better results. Next up, let's take a look at the pictures I took of the plant earlier. First up, the portrait mode. Every single edge looks like it was censored on purpose. The picture from the 64 megapixel mode is pretty usable. For the macro mode, the app prompts you to be 4 centimeters away from the subject, but at that distance, I don't think macro can be any good. And overall, this picture is pretty low in detail. Moving to the outdoors, the pictures are less grainy, but still there is barely any crisp detail in anything. It's not until we go out into the sun that we start to see any detail in the pictures. And even then, it's pretty hit or miss. Even a slight shake on the phone makes the picture pretty much unusable. Now taking a look at images with varying background blur. You can clearly see I'm standing right in the sunlight. With maxed out background blur, the phone does suffer with wear background bro disorder, as you can see. In medium blur, it's less noticeable but still there. Moving on to the wide angle shot, there is some clear fisheye going on near the edges of the image on the cars, and in 2 and 5 times zoom there is barely any detail even in this strong light. Next, let's take a look at the kind of video quality you can expect from the phone. Okay, so the video you're watching right now is being taken on the Realme 8, and it's just to show you the kind of audio and video quality you can expect from the phone, in a studio setting of course. And this is the kind of video you can expect from the front camera for making YouTube shorts or TikToks or anything of the sort. Now you are looking at video stabilization just disappearing when you need it most, even in the super steady mode. Moving on to the front camera, here is a couple of selfies in good lighting. Surprisingly, the clarity and overall color is a lot better than the back camera. But stability on the front video is on a vacation. A good inclusion on the phone is a time-lapse feature. Moving on, this phone's camera is pretty meh for its price. There's definitely better quality camera phones out there. If you're looking for a phone camera, I'd recommend looking elsewhere to the Samsung Galaxy A32, the Redmi Note 10 Pro, or the Poco X3. Well, that's all we have for you today. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more to the point unboxings, reviews, and much more.